chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program. We'll make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryan text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Been back a long time or just a little bit?
A decent amount of time.
Sorry about that. Hey, guess what? No, not Peek at the Purple. Not PST, Triple B, Triple I, results and pairings. But it's time now for 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
A game after scoring a triple-double, Julius Randle finished with a season-high 41 points and 7 rebounds as the Wolves topped the Trailblazers 133-109 last night at Target Center. Randle had 23 points in the fourth quarter. The Wolves finished with 25 fast break points as Ayo Dosunmu finished with 12 points and 4 assists to help in transition. Con, what sticks out to you from last night's Wolves win?
Well, you probably already guessed this, but I didn't see it. I guess just they tried tonight. They actually tried. Chip did a nice piece today. I don't know if you read Chip Scoggins' Fish Wrap Factory. West Side esteemed columnist, fellow Woodbury, we text and talk more than most people know, makes a handful of appearances a year on the Grum. He was here a week or two ago. And he wrote a piece about exactly what we've been talking about all season long, where sometimes they just say, and they don't care if it's disrespectful to the fan base, the league, ownership. They don't care. They just sometimes decide they don't want to play. They're not the only team apparently that does that. Those are the only team I pay attention to at all, really, to be honest with you. So and they're in our town, so we kind of focus on them. And he said, that's all fine and good, but it's time now. You know, once we get past the All-Star break, you're in the stretch run. You got 23 games. And he says, you know, hey, look, they 6th seed last 2 years and they got to the Western Conference Finals. So I think teams even start to think to themselves, it really doesn't matter as long as we're in that top 6. As long as we're there, we're going to play, you know, we can win on the road, this and that, the other thing. And it's worked for the Wolves until they get to the finals. But as Chip does point out, it's like, yeah, it's still, though, it's you can't always count on that. It just is better to be in a better spot as far as seeding goes and to just be playing well going in because, like most sports, there's some momentum here. So, and he basically says it's go time. And I couldn't agree with him more. He did a really
you're also playing with fire a little bit, right? Like, what if something did go wrong? I mean, what if Anthony Edwards got some sort of injury where he's out for the next 6 weeks? And now because you didn't put enough points in the bank, you didn't put enough wins in the bank previously because you thought, as long as we're in the top 6, we're fine. Well, then you might struggle without him, and you might get out of the top 6. Well, then you not trying for a first couple of months could end up hurting you.
Yeah, you could even miss the playoffs for crying out loud. So, yeah. Well,
that's virtually impossible at this point.
Right. But I mean, if somebody got injured bad and you get that last 26-game stretch, you lose 20 of the 26, maybe that still wouldn't do it. But my point is it could, like you just said, it not only could endanger, I guess it maybe mathematically is impossible, but if you lose key players to injury, it can be detrimental to your health. So that's what I take from the game. Is it sounds like the last 2 nights they actually tried. So, and then I saw in one of the gamers where they thought maybe it was Julius Randle was feeling sorry for himself because he didn't get into the All-Star game. And, I get it. It's a badge of honor. It's nice to be recognized, and play with your peers, when you're included. It's sort of like the Thanksgiving Day table when you're at the adult table, not with the kids. And he did. I saw a quote. I think he felt he deserved to be in. And for all I know, I don't know. I don't pay close enough attention to the league to know if he should have been one of the I don't know, is there 15 or 20 on each squad? I don't know if he should have been or not, but he wasn't, and so maybe he'll get over it. And once we get back from the All-Star break, we will we'll put the hammer down, and it'll be go time.
Question number 2.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
The Twins agreed to a minor league contract with pitcher Liam Hendriks, which includes an invite to big league camp. Hendriks, a 37-year-old righty who spent the first 3 seasons of his career with the Twins from 2011 to 2013. He flourished as a closer, recording 114 saves from 2019 to 2022 with the A's and White Sox, but has barely pitched over the last 3 years. He missed most of 2023, battling non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and was sidelined in 2024 with Tommy John surgery. Common, does the addition of Liam Hendriks do anything for you?
No. It'll be interesting to see how this team performs. Their payrolls, I don't think it's the lowest ever in franchise history, because you go back into the 60s, and I'm sure it was, because just, I think it's inflation is what it's called, and the way the economy grows, and so whatever cost $1 back in the olden days, probably now $3.50 or whatever the price would be. But their payroll is just awful. They have 2 quality starting pitchers. We don't know about Ober until he gets back. He's coming off an injury. He was pretty good. I mean, Ober was a guy who you could count on. He'd give you 5 or 6. And he'd usually leave with, not giving up more than 3 runs or so. So he's got talent. I don't know. He was hurt last year. He's coming back. The bullpen, which was considered sort of kind of a little bit of a, the whole pitching staff was kind of the strength of the team last year when you had your 3 starters and a pretty good bullpen. And they traded everybody there, so I don't know where. I mean, Liam Hendriks has added great. You just said in the question, he's barely pitched in the last couple of years. So I don't know. We expecting him to return to the. It's a typical Twins move. Go out and get guys that either were here at one time or actually 3 or 4 years ago were pretty good, maybe even really good, but now they're removed from their better days, and it's hard to harken back to those thrilling days of yesteryear. And then they're everyday players. Buxton's coming off his best year ever and his healthiest year in maybe ever, and so that's great. That's it for everyday players, right? I mean, we're supposed to like Royce Lewis, but he's been underwhelming. We got the DH. Who was the kid we got in the offseason? That what's his name? He's okay. I mean, he was a really good player for a long time, and I don't know where he is now. And so and then for Tom Pohlad, who now takes over for Joe, to basically say, we expect to be playing meaningful games in September. I think most people are rolling their eyes, shrugging their shoulders, and shaking their heads, saying, how? Now, again, it's probably not the strongest division in baseball, and stranger things have happened. It is baseball tend to be, but I'm not real encouraged heading.
There's not a lot of optimism heading into this season, as much as Tom Pohlad's trying to create that.
Correct.
Question number 3.
Roll Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the skull.
After reports that Derek Carr could possibly unretire for the 2026 season, Nick Shook of NFL.com has tabbed 4 potential landing spots for Derek Carr. He has the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, and your Minnesota Vikings. Common, would you have any interest in Derek Carr quarterbacking the Vikings next season?
He's got to be older than Rivers. He started quarterbacking back in 2002.
I always love that one.
I don't know. The quarterback situation has always been questionable at best. I mean, when we had Favre, That's probably the best year we've ever had for a quarterback.
Yes.
Except take away the Tarkenton days because, Fran, he helped get the Vikings to a handful of big games, right? But, and I know Culpepper had a few good years, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, it's like since Favre, it's just been a struggle. Cousins had we've always had guys that are okay, maybe better than average, but we've never had the guy that you go, whoa, this guy climb on my back, like, a la Kirby Puckett. And none of the name, Carr, again, if they're able to put together, if they can add to the defense and get the secondary better, their defense is good. Flores knows what he's doing. And then if you can improve the offensive line, you can have a quarterback that's above average. And if he doesn't have to win every, some games he's going to have to. And if he can do that, great. He doesn't have to win every game if your defense is really strong. And you have a decent running game, but I don't know if the Vikings can put all that together with what the pieces that they have currently in place and with the draft picks and free agency. I don't know. So what do you think? I mean, I don't. It doesn't.
I think Derek Carr would be a completely average starting quarterback.
Right.
He's not going to be great. Not going to be awful. Is he an upgrade over what J.J. McCarthy gave you last year? Yes. Is he still going to? He's still going to be one of those guys that has to have everything working around him. He's kind of Kirk Cousins like, right? Like he'll give you competent play, have everything. If the offensive line's great and the running back's great and the wide receivers are great and your defense is great, you could potentially win with him. But has he ever been on a winning team? Maybe 1 year he got to the playoffs. Like he hasn't played a lot of winning football.
I'd rather go with Phil Rivers. Of all the names out there, I'd take Phil Rivers. And I know that's
preposterous. Does he want to play quarterback? I thought he was trying to be the head coach of the Bills for a little bit.
And then he withdrew from that, so that'd be my guy. But, yeah, it's, I don't know. I'm sure he'll end up playing somewhere. But, yeah, the name doesn't get me really excited. Just go, I don't think the team is going to, like they did with Favre, they're going to go pick him up in a helicopter or a plane and then go down with the SUV and pick him up at the airport and usher him into the new Winter Park TCO Performance Center. So we'll pause. We'll come back. That's 534. By the way, Tennebee's got a keyword for us to try to put a grand in your hand.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
The Fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword credit at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is credit. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Clap.
We all had that one teacher who believed in us. They'll show your gratitude with Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate a public school teacher to win $5,000 for their classroom. This week, we want to give a shout out to Emily Larson, who teaches at Stillwater Area High School. Nominate a teacher to thank today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Number of ways to contact us here at the Fan, 1-800-320-5326, our phone number. The number you have called has been disconnected. Then there's booth@kfan.com. That's an email address. That's gone the way of the carrier pigeon. We have the talkback. We do it every Tuesday, all show long. We take talkbacks. It's great. You have, if you have the iHeartRadio app, you download the iHeartRadio app if you haven't already. Search stations, find the Fan, and then do it as a preset, but also you'll find a microphone icon in the corner of the screen. You tap it 30 seconds or less to deliver us a audio message. And then there's the ever-popular Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line. A couple of texts have come in. This one says, common Derek Carr is only 34 years old. I think you're thinking of his brother, David Carr.
Huh?
I don't have any idea what they're talking about.
Who?
There's Derek Carr was drafted back in
By the Houston Texans, number 1 overall.
Yeah, back in 2002. And he's been playing ever since. I don't know where they're... Yep, look. I'm the host of a major market radio talk show. Sports talk show. I think I know think I know my quarterbacks in the league and when they were drafted and where they've been, where they're going, where they're at. More idolization, pedestalization tend to be. It's one of my pet peeves. Dateline, Bloomington, Indiana. Indiana plans to build a bronze statue. What's their football coach's name again?
Signetti?
Of Kurt Signetti. No, I'm just kidding. Indiana plans to build a bronze statue of longtime coach Bob Knight inside Assembly Hall, where he led the Hoosiers to national championships in 76, 81, and 87. The announcement came Monday night while the Hoosiers were playing Oregon in a Big Ten game. And on the same night, the school celebrated the 75-76 team that remains the last undefeated national champ in Division I men's basketball. What a special night at Assembly Hall. School officials say Knight's statue will be placed next to one honoring the 75-76 title team and will be funded by a longtime basketball donor who wants to remain anonymous. What do you think that statue costs? Bronze statue. I don't know, will it be life-size? I suppose maybe even, well, he's larger than life, so you can't just do a life-size statue. It has to be a towering figure, Goliath-like. I got to think it's hundreds.
Hundreds?
I wouldn't say hundreds of thousands, but a bronze statue's got to be tens of thousands, doesn't
easily.
it? Hoosier athletic director Scotty Dolson said in a statement, Coach Knight's influence on the game of basketball is immeasurable. You can't even measure it, Tennessee. You can't measure it with a ruler. You can't measure with a tape measure. You can't measure it even with a yardstick. You just can't. You can't measure it. His influence on the game of basketball is, he was kind of a bore, too, as we all know. Had anger management issues. But that's okay. We all do. I've emptied my entire golf bag before, throwing clubs down the fairway. I've done that.
Have you ever thrown a club into a pond?
No, I've never done that. Coach Knight's influence on the game of basketball is immeasurable, but his impact on this university and Hoosier basketball fans is even deeper. Runs deep and wide like a river, Tennessee. On a personal level, having started my career here as a student manager under Coach Knight, just call him Bob Knight. He's not coach anymore. I just hate. I saw firsthand the unparalleled standard of excellence he demanded. And if you didn't give it to him, he'd grab you by the throat and choke you. No, that wasn't him. Who did that? Was that Freewell who did the choking thing?
I wouldn't be surprised if Bob Knight at one point had
he
done
did
that.
Something to some player. I don't remember what it was. He threw chairs. He did something to some player. I don't know if he grabbed him around the collar or something. I don't remember. Didn't Spreewell try to coach? Wasn't that here? Did he try to coach a choke?
I don't know if that was here. I think that was maybe before he got here.
Maybe it was before he got here.
Because he was at Golden State at the time, was he not?
Oh, yeah. He tried to choke somebody, I think, if I remember correctly. Allegedly, because just in case he didn't, I don't want to get in any trouble. He taught me and countless others what success is, the result of meticulous preparation and unwavering discipline. Too bad he wasn't disciplined his behavior. He couldn't discipline himself with his on-court behavior. The statue will be well-deserved tribute to a man who didn't just win games. He changed how the sport is played. He changed how the world operates, I think. They should name it Knight Assembly Hall, is what they should do. Well, they've done it for the Purdue. Isn't it called Purdue's basketball court is like Chrysler Center, but then it's like Keedy Court or something like that? Because the idolization and pedestalization is, it's not enough that the guy was really successful and you paid him boatloads of money and you say, hey, it was great, good for him. You got to retire their jersey. You got to put him in a Ring of Honor. You got to get him in the Hall of Fame. Then you got to do a bronze statue. Those are the four. If you get all four, you know you're big time. It's jersey retired. I wonder if they just retired his red sweater. Because he didn't have a jersey. This is for his coaching.
Maybe the cherry through.
Maybe it's the cherry through. So you have your jersey retirement, Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame, and statue. That's the big four. If you get that, I don't know if you can do any better other than if once you die, they cremate you, take your ashes, and then shoot them out in a cannon into outer space. Maybe they do that so that you live forever. You go through the galaxies.
Or they could add some sort of like gold plate. Like at Mall of America, there's like a gold plate where like the home plate was.
Or Hollywood Walk of Fame. Where they give you a star. They could do that too. So now we got 5 or 6. They never have to stop honoring these people. Yeah, he was a really good coach. Good for him. And again, it's. I've never. Somebody said Duke has Coach K Court. Is that true? They call it
Doesn't
Coach
surprise
K
me.
Court. Do you think they'll ever call this Common Man Studio?
No.
I don't think so either. Well, thanks a lot.
Maybe Power Trip Studio.
It's probably Power Trip Studio.
Yeah, I can see that.
PTMS, Power Trip Morning Show Studio. Yeah.
I'm surprised we're still KFAN. I figured it'd be like Power Trip Fan at some point.
Yeah.
Or Power Trip and the rest, or, and company.
How about just KPT, Power Trip? Yeah, maybe they'll do that someday. Hall of Fame, Walk of Fame. But yeah, Bob Knight's going to get it, so. He did win a school record 662 games, 11 Big Ten titles. He coached from 71 to 2000. He was fired in September 2000 following an incident with a student in a hallway. What was that incident? Is that where what happened there? Can you Google Bob Knight incident in the hallway with a student? Later landed at Texas Tech, where he finished his career as Division I's winningest coach with 902. He's also known for his fiery temper, once throwing a chair during a home game against rival Purdue. So there it is. And again, just because of a couple of where he couldn't control his temper, I don't think that
he allegedly grabbed a freshman student by the arm and cursed him out at Assembly Hall?
Oh. And some boorish behavior doesn't necessarily, I don't think that, that his coaching ability, which was really good, and back then, I think you actually recruited players. Maybe they were, my guess is throughout the decades, there have been instances of boosters paying players, maybe even back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I don't know. But he obviously could recruit and he could coach, so, more power to him. So I don't think some boorish behavior should negate what he did as a basketball coach. So good for him, the bronze statue. And I would, just to have fun, I would have a bronze statue with him throwing a chair. So you have a bronze statue of a chair, too. That'd be more expensive, right? But how good would it be to have the statue with him, got the chair in his hand, and he's just, he's just so good. So that's what I would do. Enjoy
have fun with it, yeah.
Yeah, have fun with it. And why not? It's part of his history. We'll break. We'll come back. I promise controversial Olympics talk. That's next on The Fan.
Feel the energy of the state of hockey. Minnesota Wild Hockey is back at Grand Casino Arena. Don't miss the speed, the hits, and the roar of the crowd. Get your tickets now at wild.com/tickets.
And if you really wanted to have fun with the Bobby Knight bronze statue, you have a bronze statue of him throwing a chair and then put a Vikings jersey over it. Thank you. So Deuce and I, we have dinner and then we settle in the family room, living room. And I say, why don't we watch some Olympics? Why not? Because we both just really had nothing to do. He wasn't going to play Dude Bro. You know what I mean when I say Dude Bro.
Video games.
Yeah, video games.
Yeah.
Dude Bro. So he wasn't going to do that. And I said, why don't we turn the Olympics on? So we turned it on, and this was after we went through all of our bits. One of my favorite bits we do is, I think I've brought this up before, Smoking Joe Frazier, former heavyweight champion of the world, rest in peace. He was going to fight a guy named Joe Bugner. Joe Bugner was out of Australia, fought out of England, fought Ali for a title, blah, blah, blah. And so if you Google Frazier versus Bugner, they'll on one of the, there's like 4 or 5 different options, and one of them is Joe being interviewed before they show the fight, and it's like I don't know, a week or 2 before the fight, whenever it is, and the guy goes, "So, what you know about Bugner?" And then Joe goes, "Well, first of all, he's a man, and second of all, he's a human being, and third of all, he's a fighter, and that's all I need to know." And I just find that humorous. That's all I needed to know about him. So Deuce and I will be sitting there, and I'll just out of nowhere, I do this probably once a day. So
it doesn't sound like you to repeat the same bits over and over
again. So I'll look at him and I'll go, "What you know about Bugner?" And then sometimes he's into it and he plays along and he'll go, "Well, first of all, he's a man. Second of all, he's a human being. And second of all, he's a fighter." It's all the other to just go, "He's a man, human being, and he's a fighter." Just real quick, because he knows if he doesn't say it, I'm just going to keep harping on him. Remember he claimed I was a distraction, and I think you agree.
Wonder why he would think that.
So we turn on the Olympics, and they're doing. I made no bones about this. I enjoy figure skating. I like it because it brings athleticism. These are elite athletes. Especially in the ice dancing, how they do 4 to 5 minute routines, and without making a mistake for the most part. I mean, they're nearly flawless. And Tenneby, you can attest to this. Hockey players, now it's a different form of skating, right? I mean, you're playing hockey or figure skating, but they only skate 45-second shifts because it takes a lot out of you, right?
Yes.
So when you're figure skating, you're dancing and you're lifting her into the air and you're doing this, it's really, you need to be a hell of an athlete. They even talked about one of the pairs, she rests her skate on his thigh as they're doing a spin. And like the announcer said, the blade's not that, it's not going to cut, but if she slips and gets the edge of the back edge or the front edge of the blade, it's going to cut his thigh wide open, right? So I really enjoy figure skating. I just think it's.
But I will even add, I consider myself, at least in the prime of my life, a pretty decent skater.
Right.
This is a whole nother level. I mean, the stuff they're doing, I can't imagine doing 90% of what they're doing. And the amount of training that would have to go into it. And then on just like the pairs alone, when they have 2 of them, how many times they would have to do that routine to perfect every single little movement, every little twist and angle of I mean, it's
where
bonkers.
They spin and turn and then they grab, they touch hands and it's hold hands. It's astonishing.
I can't imagine how many times they practice.
No, it's 4 years for sure until they get to the Olympics. It's just over and over and over again. So we tune in and as I'm watching, it's hard for the naked eye, at least for me, to see a mistake unless it's obvious, right? Unless they almost stumble and fall, right? But as I'm watching, the third to the last group is a group from Canada. You know who Don McLean is? He did the song Bye Bye Miss American Pie. He also did a song called Vincent, and it's about Vincent van Gogh. And it's Starry, Starry Night. They did it to Starry, Starry Night. There's the famous Van Gogh picture of Starry, Starry Night. Or maybe it's Monet or Renoir, I don't know. And her dress is like the painting. They're from Canada. I think it's as good a performance that they break down because they know it's the best performance they've ever had. I think at figure skating, I really do believe that reputation comes into play a little bit too. Because, they're not expected to win, yet they're brilliant. They vault to number 1. And I go to Deuce, I go, I don't see how anybody's going to beat them. Well, then the United States group comes out. Chalk and Bates. I think the gal's name, her last name is Chalk and the other guy's Bates. To me, they're absolutely astonishing. It's brilliant, right? And you can
They're married, correct?
Yes, they are married. Yeah, that's exactly right. And they're just absolutely astonishing. I still think I like the Canadian, but it's a coin flip, right? Again, for the naked eye, I'm not a figure skating judge. I don't know, but they take the lead. Then the Italians come out, okay? Or the French. I'm sorry, the French come out, and the French group is Laurence Fournier and Boudry. No, Lawrence Fournier, Boudry, and Guillaume Cizeron. They're the French ice dancers. They end up winning. They're the last group out. And you can tell, I think they seem like they're a bit surprised. And the United States pair, they're kind of, you just look at it, there's almost a look of astonishment on their faces. Because, here's what... what the one of the French skaters says, we're still in shock. Oh, it's the male. His name is Cizeron. He became the first skater to win back-to-back ice dance gold with different partners. So the gal he's with now, they've only been together like a year or two. He had won one 4 years ago with another one. He says, looking back a year ago when it was just 1 year, we started dreaming this. It's pretty incredible. Then it says there were some who viewed their victory as unbelievable. Cizeron made several mistakes, including a glaring one during his twizzle sequence. And I love the twizzle sequence. Tend to be familiar with the twizzle sequence. Well, you're not like me. You're not an insider when it comes to ice dancing. While Chalk and Bates were nearly perfect. Here's the money quote. Time to hear the money line. Yet the French judge favored the French skaters by nearly 8 points in the free dance.
The French judge.
While 5 of the 9 judges favored the American team. The other 3 that gave top marks to Boudreau and Cizeron also did so by a slim margin. So Bates said, I feel like in life sometimes you can feel like you do everything right and it doesn't go your way, and that's life in sports. It's a subjective sport. It's a judge sport, but I think one fact that is indisputable is that we delivered our best. We skated our best. Then he later said, we're married. Life's going to go on. So we took it well. But and I know you and I have had this debate, and because I don't want to misquote you, but the judge sports, figure skating, boxing, a lot of the gymnastics. It's all, so it's subjective to people that are watching. And I've always said to you, I kind of like that a little bit. It's different. It's sort of like when I've always said I liked when NCAA football was the only sport that determined their national championship, not on the field, but by ballots. People vote. And I just thought it was different, was kind of cool, and they got away from that. And I think the vast majority of people, everybody except me, likes it that way. And I've kind of liked the judging part of it because, especially like in the sport of boxing, there are fights that live on in infamy because of that are because of decisions that were given. And you can say it's wrong. Yeah, I guess in the real world, when it's obvious, one of my favorite lines I read in a Ring magazine one time was when the guy that was writing the story said, whoever the judge was, Joe Bag of Donuts must have had a seeing eye dog decipher his scorecard, right? Basically, blind. So that, but this one seems so glaring. The French judge scores it 8 points higher than any other judge. And they barely won. They needed that to get the victory because they barely squeaked by the United States. It almost seems to me that if your fellow countrymen are skating, you shouldn't be able to judge.
I was going to bring that point up.
Why don't they toss the French judge and bring in somebody from Cuba?
And how many judges do they have?
Well, I guess I don't know that. I guess I don't know.
Because I was also wondering, let's say you have 6 judges. If there's a way to negate, and I feel like they do this. Don't they do this in gymnastics where they take out like the top score and the bottom score just in case there's anyone that's really kind of crazy with their scores?
I think there might be not. Here's what it says. Yet the French judge favored the French skaters by nearly 8 points in the free dance, while 5 of the 9 judges favored the American team. So there's 9 of them altogether. 9.
But, I don't know why you don't just have a rule, and maybe they do, of, all right, you have 9 judges. The top score and the bottom score from those 9 judges we throw out, and then you get the other 7 scores.
Yeah, I like that. Right.
Just in case there's one, because one judge could have a major impact on whether you win or lose.
And that's what happened here. And it seemed, and when I watched it live, well, it was tape delay, but you know what I mean? When I watched it as it was going, I didn't see when he had a glaring mistake on the twizzle sequence. And that's my favorite sequence is the twizzle sequence. I didn't see it, but when they showed it, the replay, you could see that there was definitely a stumble there. And as a matter of fact, there was a previous team that, not of the 3 we just mentioned, that won gold, silver, and bronze. Another one where the woman's skate, I think it hit her partner's knee, and she kind of stumbled. And you could see when they were sitting there waiting for the scores, she was devastated because she knew that was going to be
Yeah.
That was that.
It's kind of hard to keep going on after that.
That mistake she made when she's sitting waiting for the scores to come out, she knew that was going to be detrimental to their score, and it was. Otherwise, because their performance was brilliant. I thoroughly enjoy it, and but anyway, I understand why people in the judging, because it does seem like the United States. Though that being said, to the untrained eye, which is mine, I thought the Canadians had the best one. I thought the performance, and you could tell that's probably the best performance they've ever had. But the way they were both blubbery because they couldn't believe, because they were pretty much mistake free. But I don't know, there's difficulty levels how they judge and such. Now, the singles for the men, I think, is it today or tomorrow is the final 4-minute long form, I think. Now, did you hear me talk about, have I talked about the quad god yet?
I saw him the other night, yeah.
The quad god, the guy that does the backflip?
Yeah.
We did talk about this as far as he does a quad axel, which has never been done in competition before. And as a matter of fact, I think I read the story to you where they're like, these, people, scientists and stuff, people that study this thing say it's virtually impossible you can't do more than 4.5 revolutions. You can't. It's just not physically possible for a human being to be able to do that, right? And so he's done it in competition nobody ever has. He's yet to do it, okay, in the Olympics. So he did do a backflip. Did you see that?
Yes.
He did the backflip, which, again, the backflip was never allowed, and now it is. And they're wondering if he's going to do the quad axel and try. Now, if he falls in the quad axel, points will be deducted. However, if I read the story correctly, tend to be quad god guy, I think his name is Milanen. He's from the United States. I think both of his mom and dad were figure skaters as well. He's so far ahead that even if he fell trying to do a quad axel, he'd probably still
his
win.
Difficulty level is, yeah.
So it's like, and he's been kind of, he's been very coy about whether he's going to try it or not. But I think what he probably did was, I'd give him a lot of props if he would have, like in his first one, tried to do it, right, when it's early on. But, you want to win a gold, so you don't want to take that chance. It's obviously the difficulty level on a move like that apparently is off the charts. So I think he's like, well, yeah, I know everybody wants to see it and I want to do it, but I want to make sure I've got gold secure before I take a chance like that. And so maybe we'll see it then whenever that is, tonight or tomorrow or Saturday, whenever it is. But so there was controversy reigning supreme. And then the last thing they showed was snowboarding, and Deuce and I just looked at each other and said, I just not a big.
It does nothing for me.
It does. Yeah. I don't. I know it's hard. It's crazy. You watch them come off that. They come down the first hill, and then it's not actually a ski jump, but it's the big. They take off in the air and they spin and they loop and they flip and they do backflips and then they land, and it's impressive, but it really doesn't.
I don't find it entertaining.
No, I don't really either. So I just love you. Coach and I went through a Vikings defensive back across the gym floor in anger. I like it so much. And then now there's another guy. His name is Stoltz, the cabinet maker.
Where is Stoltz? I miss Stoltz.
There's a guy named, I think it's Stoltz, American male, and they had all of they were quoting all the great male speed skaters. Isn't Brian Boitano, Scott Hamilton, et cetera, et cetera. They're just saying, well, this guy's the GOAT. And he's like, he was last night against the I don't know what country, but the one guy that they said would be the only one that'd give him a run for his money, and he was leading early. And Deuce and I kind of, pop up a little bit and go, we might be seeing him. This could be Miracle on Ice too, right? This kid is so good, Tenneby. He got past him with a burst of speed and ended up winning. He says he's Olympic records, world. You can't beat him. He wins every event he's in. And they did the little, they always do those human interest part of it where they show he and his sister they're from Wisconsin. And he watched the Olympics. He and his sister watched it and saw it, so they decided they wanted to. They have video they showed last night when they were just little kids trying it for the first time. And then their dad built a big speed skating rink in their backyard, and lo and behold, look where he is today. It's astonishing how fast. They're going up to 34 to 35 miles per hour. I mean, like dude said, that's what it is when I'm driving down Hargis Parkway to go over to Bielenberg. I mean, it's like driving in. Think about when you're driving 35 miles in a car and they're doing it skating.
Yeah.
And so that was impressive to watch last night too. And so he'll win. I don't know how many gold he'll end up getting. I can't remember who. Is it Hayden that has the most gold in one Olympic? I think for speed skaters. I think I'm not sure. I'm not paying that close attention, but yeah. So, and then you have the Olympic hockey where there's no competition at all. And even didn't the United States that was the gals where they destroyed.
They destroyed Canada. Right? Canada was missing their best player, right. But still.
On the men's,
they took it to them.
On the men's side, are they pretty evenly matched? Canada and the United States. That should be if they end up meeting
on paper. Those two would be the two best teams, right. But it's definitely not. In women's, it's U.S.-Canada, a huge gap.
Okay.
USA in men, it's USA-Canada, small gap.
Just a small gap.
Yeah, well, in a sport in which there's goalies and play good defense, and it becomes single elimination at some point. And there's puck luck involved, right? I mean, stuff can happen in hockey. But the U.S. men actually they start here in the next 20-ish minutes. So,
and who do we play?
Latvia. The USA has a pretty not very challenging pool. They've got Latvia, Denmark, and Germany. Because Germany kind of surprised at the Olympics 4 years ago, so that's why they're kind of like the second seed, which they're not a tough second seed. So, USA, anything worse than 3-0 in their pool, it's very disappointing, and that should also allow them to have, top seed once you get to the medal round.
Are you suggesting that their only enemy is overconfidence? Right, that's your only enemy,
or a hot goalie, yeah,
or a hot goalie, overconfidence or a hot goalie, and neither is good. So there we go. That was. So again,
and Canada did win. Their men's team did win today. By the way, they beat the Czech Republic.
Yeah, they were up 5-0.
They're going to be in a 5-0 final.
Yeah, and so that's that. So again, there's your. If you weren't watching the figure skating last night, the ice dancing is just to me it's the most ice dancing, and then just
I like the short track speed skating that's on right now.
Too. Short track
is kind of bonkers.
Well, it's because they got like 4 or 5 skaters at the same time, and it's a tight track, and their skates are too long. They keep bumping each other. Yeah. Well, then didn't see it in this one, as it's also on in Studio A as well on the 55-inch Toshiba Regza. But you'll see it's almost like Daytona 500. You see accidents all the time in this thing. They'll be going around the corners, and you'll see guys collide with each other. And then
someone just got penalized.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
And then you'll see bitterness. You'll see him almost come to blows because a guy will, here's a guy, he's fighting for gold for 4 years, and some guy who can't control his skates clips him, knocks him out, and it's like, what are you doing, dude? You just run. And that's why you see, in NASCAR, you'll see guys almost come to blows, and they have come to blows. Guys will get out of the car.
There's a lot of puck luck.
Yeah, guys will get out of the car, and he'll run over to the other guy's car, and he'll try to drag him out through the window to try to beat him up because he thinks he ruined his chance to get the checkered flag, so... Wow, how close was that?
It's extremely close. I feel like on that end part where they stick their skates out, they all do it way too early.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to take another stride.
You know how, like, if a guy's trying to beat out a throw to first base, sometimes he goes head first? Do you think he can go head first in skating, or would that be detrimental? My
guess is it's the skates that's got to get across
probably
first.
Is. There you go. Well, let's do this. Let's take a break. The legendary one, Mark Rosen, we'll see what he thinks. He's a big Olympic fan. And he's just a fan of everything. And I'm a fan of Mark Rosen, as are the listeners as well. He joins us next here on the Common Man program.